Star Wars Outlaws was a complete and utter failure for Ubisoft. It underperformed, people pointed, laugh at it, and it just did not click with audiences. But now they're highlighting this new second story pack they're putting out, and everybody is roasting them for it. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I played quite a lot of Star Wars Outlaws. I was actually relatively close to the end of the game, but then I reached a game-breaking bug in the middle of a story mission and I could not progress the story. So I haven't even finished this game yet. Maybe I'll go back to it and see if they've fixed it, if they've patched it, but that really sucked. And I wasn't really enjoying the experience up until that point, so it didn't break my heart. But when you're paying money for a product, you should be able to experience it. But now they expect you to shell out even more money for this brand new second story slash adventure pack, which they had already said before release that they were going to be releasing a lot of extra content for this game, but it's kind of shocking that they are, given it really didn't click with audiences. I am glad that they didn't really abandon the game for the people who have enjoyed it, though at the same time, all they're really doing is pumping money into a product that they're never going to turn a profit on. So they had just announced this play the second story pack for Star Wars Outlaws: A Pirate's Fortune on May 15th. Embark on a mysterious adventure with Kay and Nix to explore the Kepi system and what it takes to be a true leader. Now, this is a little bit more detail than we had previously gotten, because when you bought the battle pass, it said that it was going to be the Pirate's Fortune expansion, though this is not sitting well with people. I mean, first of all, the player numbers for this game are abysmal. We do not know console numbers, and you also have to take into consideration that this is a game that launched on Ubisoft Plus, same with something like Assassin's Creed Shadows. So if you pay for that subscription, you don't have to buy the game specifically. But when it had finally launched on Steam back at the beginning of March, it actually peaked at $33.97. So it had gone up a little bit after a slightly larger update, though as of right now in game there's 729 players, and this is pretty standard for single player games. When it comes out, everybody's playing it and then they finish it and they move on, unless there is an expansion, which in this case it launches in a couple of weeks. But 729 players is not good, and seeing the all-time peak being nearly 3,400 is still abysmal, because even if you are paying for Ubisoft Plus and you download the game that way, they still ultimately need you to swipe your credit card, and they need people to buy the games individually so that they can make some money, or they expect you to buy battle passes and microtransactions, and that did not happen. What we understood was that Ubisoft had actually replaced Julian Garrity as the creative director for Outlaws, not even that long after launch, as the game underperformed sales expectations. They didn't want to really give us too many details besides that, though it didn't do good. He echoed the comments from Ubisoft in a message addressed to gamers. I also want to take the time to say that we not only hear your positive feedback, but your constructive feedback as well. Thank you for sharing with us and helping us make the game even better, which wasn't necessarily a terrible statement to make, though they definitely seemed to be in damage control mode. Now, this change from Garrity to Reckner comes in the wake of Ubisoft admitting that Star Wars Outlaws underperformed sales expectations despite receiving solid reviews. Now, this is a problem when it comes to companies presenting information to shareholders, and the way that the media presents games now, they always talk about solid reviews from critics, positive critical reception. Critics a lot of the time get paid for positive reviews. Ubisoft might give them a fat check, and EA might give them a fat check, whatever company. I do not trust video game journalists. Ethics in journalism has been a very big problem since Gamergate 1 back in 2014, and it still is today. I do not trust these critical reviews, and that's the only way that they could spin this positively to their investors, that it had solid reviews, good critical reviews. which means nothing if people are not actually buying your game. But headed back to the story expansion on this post, people are absolutely roasting them for it. No one's playing this, and no one will pay for the DLC. If you have the battle pass slash like the season or expansion pass, whatever they want to call it, maybe you will end up downloading this and playing it because you've already paid for it. But individually, I just don't see a lot of people, yeah, like being very hyped for this. I don't see a lot of positivity surrounding this. I just see people like Blabs and John Delarose kind of memeing on it. Haven't played the first Outlaws. Is it good? Can't wait to dive into the Kepi system with KNX. The story pack sounds like a wild ride. So there's actually one person here who's positive, and then you get into the no thanks. This isn't Battlefront 3. Is this game still busted? When it launched, it was so buggy and so broken, and that was a lot of talk surrounding this game. And I hope that by now they've fixed it, and I hope for the few people that are actually going to play the expansion, they don't face similar problems at the launch of that. Though my experience, was very bad when it came to this game. There are lots of people saying things like, I don't think so. Hopefully it's longer than 10 minutes. Like, I'm going back to sleep, not actually exciting. So yeah, just really not a lot of positivity surrounding this experience. And well, internally, Ubisoft, of course, is struggling. Now, this is one of the games they expected to be pretty big for them. They probably were hoping it was going to compare to something like Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Those two games combined have sold over a total of 15 million copies. But if you slice that down the middle and you say 7 million or 8 million copies for Star Wars Outlaws, they would have taken that as a smashing success. But as far as we are aware, it did not even get close to that. The last time we got solid numbers, it was about 2 million copies, which it just isn't what they needed. And we found out not even that long ago, back in January, that Ubisoft closed a Star Wars Outlaws studio, laid off 185 employees as the company's financial troubles deepen ahead of Assassin's Creed Shadows. So Assassin's Creed Shadows came out. They've tried to spin that as a positive situation with, millions of players engaged. That does not actually equate to sales. And we've found out that they're shutting down things like X Defiant. We have seen the big Tencent deal happen. I just don't think that Star Wars Outlaws is really going to get much more content besides this one story expansion because they have been struggling so much and they've just been failing over and over. It says the decision to close Ubisoft Leamington is part of a larger restructuring plan that will affect other Ubisoft offices. Across these locations, a total of 185 employees will lose their jobs as the companies seek to reduce costs and prioritize projects that promise long-term stability. Now, I do not revel in the fact that people are losing their jobs, but ultimately, if you suck at your job, you probably don't deserve to have it. We know that this studio, formerly known as Freestyle Games, employed around 50 dedicated professionals who contributed to notable titles like Outlaws, Skull and Bones, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, The Division 2, and Far Cry 5. So a couple of good things there, like Division and Far Cry, but besides that, flop after flop after flop. So it's no shocker that they got shut down. And now that we're seeing this story pack be teased, and there's not a lot of positivity, I just don't really see a lot of people, coming back to this game and giving it a shot and being really excited for it. I'll be keeping my eye on it. Maybe things will change as we get closer to release, but right now things are not looking good for Ubisoft in totality as a company, but especially Star Wars Outlaws. I think the fate of this game is pretty sealed, and I do think within the next couple of months it's just going to be completely dead and nobody's even going to remember it in like a year or two. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.